Let's talk sports. Let's go. The 12th Man Podcast.
We are the brothers in arms elite. We are the ones you can't defeat. Welcome to the B.I.A's Twitch and YouTube channel. Hey! Alright, everybody, welcome back to another episode of your 12th Man Podcast. This is Coach Dub coming to you live from beautiful College Station, Texas, for your Week 13 Conference Championship Week 12th Man Podcast. We're looking back to Week 13 to look at some scores, and then we'll look at the games we got coming up. We'll even do a little bit of a Heisman update for you today. Okay, here we go. Mississippi State at number 12, Ole Miss. Ole Miss pulls out the victory 41-31. NC State at number 4, North Carolina. North Carolina put it on them hard and put it on them early. 48-17 Tar Heels. North Carolina put up 21 in the first quarter, held NC State to 3. It was 24-10 at the half. And for good measure, the Tar Heels put up a 17 to zip fourth quarter. Here we go, taking a look at the stats. North Carolina, 20 first downs, 353 yards of total offense. They ran 64 plays, averaged 5.5 yards a play. They rushed the ball 18 times for 33 yards and a dismal 1.8 yards a carry, but added 320 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns while going 8 of 16 on third down conversions for 50%. The story of this game, NC State Wolfpack, 1 of 11 on third down conversions for 9%. Great job by the Tar Heel defense. Georgia at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech 28, the Yellow Jackets 10. Let's take a quick look at the stats. Georgia had 14 first downs, 313 yards of total offense. They ran 45 plays, averaged 7 yards a play. They rushed the ball 14 times for 52 rushing yards and no rushing touchdowns while adding 261 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns through the air. Georgia went 4 of 7 on third down conversions for 57%. Held Georgia Tech to 2 of 12 for 16% on the game. Now we take a look at Tennessee at Vanderbilt. Tennessee pulls out the victory 45-21. Jumping in to take a look at the stats. Tennessee had 19 first downs, 425 yards of total offense. They ran 75 plays, averaged 5.7 yards a play. They rushed the ball 35 times for 97 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, only averaging 2.8 yards a carry. They added 328 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns while going 6 of 16 on third down conversions for 37%. South Carolina at Clemson, the Palmetto Series, rivalry game and rivalry week. Here we go. Clemson 28, South Carolina 24. Closer than the Tigers would have liked at home. In the fourth quarter said it all, as they were tied 21-21 going into the fourth. But Clemson puts one more TD on the board and holds the Gamecocks to a field goal, and that's going to be your final, 28-24. Here we go. 422 yards of total offense on 26 first downs. They ran 80 plays, had 5.3 yards a play, rushed the ball 27 times for 81 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, while adding 341 yards through the air and 2 passing touchdowns. The Clemson Tigers went 7 of 15 on third down conversions for 46%, and their defense held the Gamecocks to 2 of 10 for 20% on third down. Number 9, Pittsburgh at UConn. Wasn't close, never a doubt. Pittsburgh, 65. Huskies, 17. And it was a 45-10 at the half. All brakes, no gas for Pittsburgh. Here we go. 19 first downs, 489 yards of total offense. They ran 46 plays, 10.6 yards a play. They rushed the ball 21 times for 143 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, while adding 346 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns through the air, while going 2 of 7 on third down conversions for 28%. If there was a bleak spot on the day for Pittsburgh, it was third down conversions. Here we go, number 11, Florida at Florida State. 63 for the Gators, 50 for the Seminoles, a 13-point difference. And let me tell you, this game was wild from start to finish. 21-14, Florida after one. 35-28, Florida Gators at the half. They added 14 in the third. But that's when the Seminoles tried to make it close and put up 22 in the fourth. But it wasn't enough to overcome the deficit. And the Gators hold on for the 63-50 win. Let's take a look at the stats. 21 first downs for your Florida Gators, 662 yards of total offense, 49 plays, 13.5 yards of play, 39 rushing attempts for 484 rushing yards and 7 rushing touchdowns, while only throwing for 178 passing yards to the air and no passing touchdowns. The Gators were 4 of 8 on third down conversions for 50%. The Seminoles had 19 first downs, 502 yards of total offense. They ran 59 plays, averaged 8.5 yards a play. They rushed the ball 17 times for 37 yards and no rushing touchdowns, but they smoked the Gators secondary to the tune of 465 passing yards and 6 passing touchdowns. The Seminoles went 3 of 12 for 25% on third down conversions. Just because I already know, we're going to take a quick look at this. Jaden Scott, 31 carries, 445 rushing yards, 14.4 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns. Was your game player of the game for the Florida Gators. Remember that, Jaden Scott, and remember those numbers because that's going to come into play later on here in a minute. Now we look at number 8, Arizona State, hosting Arizona, 17-16. Talk about the Territorial Cup being a low-scoring affair, and one that the Sun Devils almost regretted being a part of on Saturday. 17-16 to an Arizona team that's 5-7 on the season, 4-4 in their conference. Taking a quick look at the stats, the Sun Devils had 20 first downs, 331 yards of total offense while giving up 374 to the Wildcats. They ran 53 plays, averaged 6.2 yards a play, while Arizona went 6.4 yards a play on the day. The defense struggled early and often against Arizona. That being said, it was Arizona 10, Arizona State 7 at the half. Here we go. Looking on down the road, 327 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns for the Sun Devils. They went 3 of 9 for 33% on third downs while allowing 5 of 13 for the Wildcats for 38%. Too close for comfort, folks. Now we look over to the Big 12, number 15, Texas A&M at Baylor. Baylor 37, Texas A&M 34, a close one that Baylor wins at home. Auburn at number 1, Alabama. Bama pulls it out 56-17. The Iron Bowl is big as it gets. Let's take a look at your stats. Alabama had 366 yards of total offense. They ran 46 plays, 8 yards of play. Rushed the ball 25 times for 176 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns while adding 190 passing yards to the air and 3 passing touchdowns. They went 3 of 8 on third down conversion for 37%. Looking at the Auburn Tigers, War Eagle, 13 first downs, 260 yards of total offense, ran 53 plays, 4.9 yards of play. They rushed the ball 19 times for 52 yards and 1 rushing touchdown. Added 208 passing yards and a passing touchdown through the air while going 4 of 11 on third down conversions for 36%. Looking on to the Big Ten. Number 7, Michigan at number 3, Ohio State. Ohio State, 41 to the Wolverines, 38. What a game, what a close one. Ohio State led 21-17 at the half. Michigan come on strong in the third and made it 38-28 going into the fourth. But that's when Ohio State would storm back with 10 points of their own to tie the game and send it to overtime where they win it over Michigan 41-38. Let's take a look at the stats. Michigan Wolverines had 23 first downs, 390 yards of total offense, had 64 plays, 6.1 yards of play. They rushed the ball 23 times for 78 yards and a rushing touchdown, while adding 312 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns through the air. The Wolverines were 2 of 10 for 20% on third down conversions. Ohio State on the game managed only 13 first downs, 226 yards of total offense. They ran 47 plays, averaged 4.8 yards a play, rushed the ball 21 times for 39 yards and 1 touchdown, and a horrendous 1.9 yards a carry rushing the ball for them on the day. The Buckeyes added 187 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, and the Buckeyes were 2 of 9 on third down conversions for 22%. Number 16, Oregon at Washington. Washington with the upset at home. 35 for the Huskies, 31 for the Ducks, as the Huskies pull it out. Michigan State at UCLA. UCLA holds on for the victory, 35-28 against the Spartans. Number 6, USC at number 10, Notre Dame. 42 for the Trojans, 24 for the Fighting Irish. Let's take a look at the stats. 23 first downs for the Trojans, 432 yards total offense, 56 plays, 7.7 yards a play. They rushed the ball 26 times, 104 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, while adding 328 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns on the day. The Trojans, 4 of 8 for 50% on third down conversions. The Fighting Irish had 17 first downs, 351 yards of total offense. They ran 43 plays, averaged 8.2 yards a play. They rushed the ball 10 times for 57 yards and 1 rushing touchdown, while adding 294 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns through the air, while going 3 of 6 on third down conversions for 50%. Jumping over to the SEC. Number 5, UCF at Texas. UCF pulls out the close game, 20-17, stunning the Longhorns at home. Here we go. 16 first downs for UCF Black Knights, 287 yards total offense, 48 plays, 6 yards of play. They ran the ball 17 times for 36 yards and no rushing touchdowns. They added 251 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns through the air, while going 5 of 10 on third down conversions for 50%. The Longhorns, 19 first downs, 308 yards of total offense, 55 plays, 5.6 yards a play. Rushed the ball 19 times for 68 yards and no rushing touchdowns, while adding 240 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns through the air on the day. The Longhorns also 5 of 10 on third down conversions for 50%. Here we go. Number 2, Oklahoma at Kentucky. Smoked them. Shut them out. Zilch. Nada. Nothing. Oklahoma Sooners 66, Kentucky 0. Going to take a quick look at those stats. 29 first downs for the Sooners, 455 yards of total offense, 63 total plays, 7.2 yards a play. They rushed the ball 33 times for 176 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown, and while adding 279 passing yards and 7 passing touchdowns on the day. They went 5 of 9 on third down conversions for 55%. Kentucky only managed 45 yards of total offense on 29 plays, 1.6 yards a play. They had 8 rushing yards, 37 passing yards, and were 0 of 8 on third down conversions for 0%. Oklahoma on the day, Charles Wilson, 279 yards and 7 touchdowns while completing 86% of his passes. A.J. Al Carter added 23 carries for 118 rushing yards and 1 rushing touchdown on the day. Here we go. LSU at Miami. Miami pulls it out 38-17. That's our games for this week. We're going to take a quick look. Go back in here. I messed up. Here we go. Conference Championship Week. The ACC, number 4, North Carolina at number 8, Arizona State. That line is Arizona State minus 6.5. They got to win by 7 to cover. Jumping over to the Big 12, number 15, Texas A&M versus Auburn. I got a dog in that fight, so I'm not going to throw anything on that one. Number 7, Michigan. At number 3, Ohio State. This one just went to overtime. -3, Ohio State. -3. They're going to get the 3 on a neutral field. Now we're looking over to... Did we pass the Big Ten? Yes, that's the Big Ten. Here we go. Now we're dropping down to the SEC. SEC, number 1, Alabama versus number 2, Oklahoma. Like I said, this could be the showdown that shows you your natty right here. These two teams are probably the best we got, and they're going to go head-to-head one more time. I got Oklahoma -3.5. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Now we're going to jump down, take a look at what the bracket supposedly looks like currently. This is what your bracket's supposed to look like. UCF, Pittsburgh, Arizona State, Utah, USC, Notre Dame, Michigan. It's got Oklahoma, Ohio State, Alabama, and North Carolina as your buys currently on the day. So, Heisman watch. Here we go. Jaden Scott comes from nowhere after having a 450-yard rushing game to jump to number one on the Heisman list. Rocco Franco of Ohio State sitting in the 2 spot. A big game from Rocco could push him past Jaden Scott on the list. Winston Watkins Jr. staying at number 3. J.C. Evans of USF drops to the number 4 spot, and Christian Clark remains at number 5. Rocco Franco's got to have a big game today against Michigan, folks, if he wants the Heisman. Okay. That's been your 12-man podcast. Until next time, this is Coach Dub signing off.